Hello everyone, this is presentation video number 2, database and API. What data in the application is persistent and stored in your database? Okay, so here's my database model. We have name, email, password, if the user is admin, balance, and an array with all the transactions that start with 100. All accounts start with 100. We also have another collection called activity that stores email, action, and the date. How did you use the DAL in the context of your application? I created a DAL file just as we did in one of the exercises. It has some functions to perform various operations in the database. This is the list of the functions or methods that I used, which are, of course, connect, find, insert one, and the Express server imports these functions to be able to call them when required. Now I will discuss any new features that I developed for the database or DAL. I used Chalk to display the logs clearly or neatly. All transactions are stored in the database, and all login and logout activity is also stored in the database. And the design decisions. So I designed it this way so I can know when my app was or will be graded. Next question is, did I use a RESTful or GraphQL API? Yes, I did use Swagger, but just briefly because I found it to be easier just document things by hand. Now I will describe the API endpoints and explain the role of each one. Here's my endpoints. All of my methods use get, and I know I should have used posts instead, but this just worked fine for me. The first endpoint is to know if the user is already logged in. This runs on the first render using useEffect. Then we have sign up. Is the route to create a new user in Firebase. Then we have login and logout. Well, they are self-explanatory. And with the extra that, as I mentioned, they save information into the database. So every login and logout is stored. We have transaction, which will store a deposit or withdraw from the user's balance into the database. And finally, we have all data, which will retrieve all information from the database the user has access to, depending if they are admin or regular user. Next, I have to showcase my API documentation. It's brief because it's just meant for me. I didn't found any need to store any more information here. It lists all of the routes with description, parameters if they have, and what's the model of the object or string that it returns. Additionally, a note or two if it's necessary. So here's my endpoint, Mongo test, already login, sign up, login, transaction, and all data. In the all data, we can see all the information, which has an object with three objects, user, all users, and transactions. Some of these include arrays. What else? That's all for video number 2. So I will see you in video number 3.